Hello, I'm Scott Brown, Director of Strategic Partnerships for the College of Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources at the University of Missouri, and a long-term ag economist at MU as well. I wanted to speak a little bit today on what's been happening with the CFAP program and the importance of government programs to what's been happening to the bottom line of U.S. agriculture in 2020. If we spend just a little bit of time, many of us would have projected some lower farm income in 2020 relative to 2019. However, if you start early in the year, USDA back in February of 2020 would have actually suggested farm income that was about $3 billion higher. You look at the right-hand side here, we had $93.6 billion in net farm income in 2019, USDA saying $96.7 billion. That would have been pre-coronavirus. If you look at some stuff coming out of the Food and Ag Policy Research Institute back in June, you start to see again and now a decline, according to FAPRI, of about 90.6. And more importantly, if you were to look at net farm income and not include government payments, we would talk about a net farm income level of $69.9 billion in 2019. FAPRI estimating that would have fallen to $57.8 billion in 2020, and that's both lower crop receipts and lower livestock receipts. I think COVID-19 has had a lot to do with those estimates of lower market receipts. So government payments are really important to what's going on now. If you remember, CFAP program was allocated $16 billion to be spent. Just for a minute, if you look at the gold line, this is what I kind of dub crop farm income, if you will. So we're looking at the official estimates, but trying to separate livestock and crop farm income. You'll see what was $140 billion in my rough calculation here becomes more like $125 billion without any kind of government payments. However, when you add government payments, we get this black line here, you can just see how supportive government payments have been to try to help prop up U.S. farm income. Now, I remind us that U.S. farm income may look better when you include government payments, but I think when you look at it on an individual producer basis, we're going to see a lot of variability around the country in terms of the level of that safety net. So I just want to spend a few minutes with you talking about the CFAP program. We've seen a lot of information out at this point in time, but I think it's important to make sure as we get a final push here that we get everyone signed up in Missouri that's possible. Sign up does last now through September 11th. And so I hope you'll take advantage of this. I'm cutting this video here in mid-August, so we still have a little bit of time left. You had to suffer a 5% or greater price decline or market supply chains disruptions to really be eligible. It got a majority of our commodities in Missouri, and we'll look a little bit more at some of the data that's available to us from that information. There's also some eligibility requirements in terms of gross income limits that had to be applied. There's also payment limitations per person, $250,000. If you were looking at other entities, depending on the number of shareholders, you could get up to $750,000. That did provide some limits, or binding limits, I should say, relative to some commodities. Pork, for example, a lot of operations likely hit payment limits as a result of what was put in for the CFAP program. Now, as of August 17th, just to get a sense of what's been happening, right here we've got $9 billion that has gone out under the CFAP program already. Again, remember, USDA was allocated $16 billion. If you start looking at the mix of that, almost $4 billion of the 9 was cattle. Dairy comes in second at about 1.7, corn right behind at 1.6, hogs at about $500 million, and you can see some of the other soybeans about 450. So we've seen 541,000 approved applications totaling again $9 billion. We know there's about another $7 billion that could go out into the program. We'll see between now and when this program is currently set to end, whether or not we get all the way to 16 billion. I think we've recently seen Secretary Perdue talk a lot about some additional CFAP payments. I think that's beginning to signal that if we don't get all 16 billion out, we'll find other ways to talk about moving some of that program. And that doesn't include any other additional support for agriculture that could be coming if we talk about a fourth round of stimulus monies, that at least a portion of those could go to agriculture. If we hone in for a minute, what's been happening in Missouri, so about $347 million of CFAP payments have made their way to Missouri, similar to what's been happening in the U.S. numbers. 243 million of that has gone out as livestock. So primarily cattle and hog payments, non-specialty crops. So I think corn and soybeans fits in here, 94 million. Dairy's gotten about $9 million. So you see what's been payments that have been, I think, helpful to Missouri farmers. Probably haven't made us whole from what's been happening as a result of COVID-19. My estimate going into this was that Missouri could get anywhere from $500 to $700 million. So I still think there's some eligible production laying out there that could qualify. So we'll see how much those grow as we look ahead. But I certainly encourage folks to take advantage of the CFAP program if they've not yet. I appreciate the chance to visit with you all today. I hope if you have any questions, you'll reach out, and hopefully 2021 will be a better year for us.